Hello?
Hello?
Yes?
Yes, I'd like to make a rebuttal to your comment about you saying there are proof of citizen requirements to register to vote, and you said that you have to have a Social Security number on a registration form, which is not true.
On some, and it depends on the state. That's true. Some states you need to put your social. Yeah, it does. Some states you need to have a Social Security number. Other states you can just use your driver's license.
Okay, let me explain. In all states that receive Help America Vote Act of 2002 federal dollars have to follow that law that was passed after Al Gore and Bush went to court back in 2000.
All right, let me read. Hold on for a second. I'm going to read from the National Voter Registration Act, okay? I'm going to read that for you now, okay? And I'm going to look at the I'm literally staring at the application. All right? The voter registration absentee ballot request federal postcard application. Well, this is the federal. I mean, these are federal. I guess this is the absentee ballot. State driver's license or ID or Social Security number. Some states require your full Social Security number. Check your state's pages in the Voting Assistance Guide on the fvap.gov website. All right?
Okay, but that's not listing the full recommendations and requirements from Help America Vote Act. If there is no driver's license, if there is no Social Security number, the state will issue a special voter ID number for the person to use for voting. And I actually have the debates from 2002 between Chuck Todd and John McCain, where they're debating the checkbox for citizenship status. So even if that box is not checked, the default for the form is citizenship status. It all defaults to citizenship status. That's
do you think
what you're
that?
not telling me.
Okay. Do you think that? Well, you've just told them. How many undocumented immigrants do you imagine are voting?
It's really impossible to know that number, honestly, but I know this, that if you take a sample of jury duty declines due to non-citizenship status and match it against the actual voter database, you can find a small sample of non-citizens voting. But there is no existing requirement to do that in federal law. So this has to be done by the Freedom of Information Act. That's why only private organizations have done this type of organization.
All right. And so give me, based on their data, how many thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of undocumented immigrants do you have a sense are voting in our elections? I mean, obviously, you have dedicated a lot of resources to this, so you must believe this is a fairly substantial problem, right? Affecting the outcomes of how many elections would you say this is affected?
Well, I don't really know, but I do know this. I can quote the Heritage Foundation's number if you want me to do that. It's about 5%. But personally, I know since...
So you think that the elections are skewed by 5 percentage votes, 5 percentage points?
In California.
In California. And so...
Okay,
and how many elections would that have made a difference?
You would have to actually call your state of elections office to kind of get that information.
Okay. All right. So in California, we think that about 5% of the vote is fraudulent. And let's presume that it all, because it's certainly not, I presume that you think it all goes to one party, right?
Most of it goes to one party, correct?
Okay,
Since
all
the
right.
Democrats voted down proof of citizenship requirements, they knew what they were doing.
All right, so how many elections would turn on this, according to your calculations? 5%.
It's really hard to know. It doesn't matter if the election is turned, but here in Chula Vista, California, a local election between a man named McCain and his Democrat rival actually was tied. It had to go to a recount twice to the register of voters who actually had to count those provisional ballots that you were talking about, or throw them away. And they had both candidates there challenging each vote. So you didn't know how the provisional ballots were counted, and now I'm telling you, I told you how the registration form is conducted with defaults to citizenship status. No checkbox is signed for citizenship. If no driver's license, no Social Security, the state will give you an issue.
All right.
Voter ID
So,
number.
okay. So I'm going to stipulate that in this election, perhaps the outcome would have been illegitimate had you not had each candidate there questioning each provisional ballot. So will you join me in supporting Hillary Clinton's call that we automatically register people based on their Social Security numbers, which we also use for the draft when they turn 18, so that we can do away with this problem that could very well be shaking the foundations of our democracy?
Well,
Will you join Hillary Clinton and I in supporting this? Make sure that...
I would rather... Can I finish?
Wait a second. I'm asking you a question. Will you answer me?
Yes, I do not support that Hillary Clinton proposal, and
Why?
I have a reason why.
Why? Why?
Hello?
Why? Why
The
don't...
reason is because I believe in our Republican form of government is the civic duty of all citizens to actually register to vote, to keep their voting records maintained, and actually go to the polls and vote. It's their civic duty. So I don't believe in any mandatory government program to automatically register people to vote. So no, I don't. What needs to
Did you have a
happen
problem with the
is-
draft? Did you have a problem with the draft? And do you have a problem with that, with the 18-year-olds having to register for the draft?
Of course I do. I don't believe in the draft.
Okay. So, I mean, do you have a problem with, so your issue is you don't think that we should automatically register and only register because it's not the same as voting, right? The duty is not to register. The duty is to vote. This just allows only and ensures that only American citizens will be eligible to vote. That's all it does.
If that was proven to be
Join
true,
me
then I can
in
support
protecting
that.
the sanctity of our vote and Hillary Clinton. Will you support Hillary Clinton's proposal? And if not, I would propose to you, sir, that you are rejecting the most comprehensive and assured way to protect the integrity of our vote. Why
Well,
don't
that
you
is not
love
the
America?
way to do it.
Why don't you love America, sir?
I love Americans enough to think
It
that they
doesn't
can
sound
actually-
like it to me. It sounds like you got a plan to make sure that we don't. It just sounds like maybe you have your own undocumented immigrants that you want to swing a vote. That's what it sounds like to me. Because she has offered, just because Hillary Clinton, who's not my first choice to be the Democratic
Is this how you
nominee.
act? Is this how you
Excuse
they want this?
let
want
me just
you to
interject
act
here,
this
sir.
way?
Unbelievable.
Sir, I need to interject. This
Unbelievable.
is absolutely how he acts. He is a very immature person.
That's right.
And,
That's right.
and this is exactly how he acts. Also, can I just, out of nowhere here, I'm just spitballing. Has anybody seen Super Troopers?
Have you seen Super Troopers?
Yes, of course.
You know, you got a little bit of a Farva thing going on with the voice.
Okay, can I make this last statement that I support, that you should support if you believe in voter integrity, and that is to reconcile the National Voter Registration Act of 1993 to include proof of citizenship requirements. That's all I'm advocating. That's it.
And what would those proof of citizen requirements be?
That's a good question. Congress has to come up with it and fix it. But I would say, like a birth certificate. Whatever they came up to prove citizenship. That's
What about
fine.
people
But
who
did you
don't
know
have birth certificates?
Then they can fix it, take it individually to the Register of Voters and fix it themselves. It's their responsibility. You want a government law program to make sure
That
everyone
people are registered. So what?
registered.
What's so wrong about that?
Just like
What's so wrong about that?
mandatory
What is so
voting.
wrong about that? Just because you have it in just because you have, hold on for a second. The reason why you think it's a problem is just because in your mind, in your little mind, you've decided arbitrarily that this is something people should do. You've decided arbitrarily based on nothing, no document, no founding document of this country, nothing. It's just in your mind, this should be made as inconvenient as possible, right? Because of course, it's not equal. I live closer to a voter registration place than somebody else. That's not fair, is it? But because in your mind it's convenient for you, that's the way you want it. I will give you the last word, sir.
Oh, well, thank you, Sam. It's not that. I said every poll done since 2008, including registered Democrats that are black, Hispanic, women, overall, it's going to be over 70% of American registered voters want proof of citizenship and photo ID.
No, I'm asking you why you won't support Hillary Clinton's proposal. Why
aren't you supporting democracy? Democracy demands those. I just told you democracy demands it.
I thought a Republican form of government demanded those, not democracy. Just to keep yourself straight there.
People want it in every poll. So you use polls for your advantage when the majority, like 70%, say do this or do that. Well, over 70% of American registered voters from the Brennan Center.
Listen. I'm saying I support Hillary Clinton's proposal to do that very thing, and that's basically it.
If in the first call you did on the show when Michael and I were hosting, you poo-pooed democracy, saying our Constitution calls for a republic and how the will of the people should not matter because then what happens is progressive and liberals take over and they force forward their anti-constitutional ideas. So who cares the will of the people, what the people want? You're being hypocritical on your own stances.
He just hung up on you.
Goddamn leader of cola, and I'm going to monitor the migrants for voting.
He just hung up on Matt.
It's okay. I hung up on him. We're even now.
Even.
All right.